Hi there, David Sheeler, St. Andrew Church in Tampa, Florida. And I'm doing a little bit of traveling. I'm here at the airport. Doing a little bit of traveling, been on vacation, doing some other stuff. But it made me think actually about an old joke. You probably have heard it before about how do you define an expert? Who's an expert? An expert is somebody who comes from more than 100 miles away to give you their opinion. And it can seem that way a lot of times. It seems like folks that are away from us or some distance from us or different from us somehow can be seen as being smarter or knowing more or being better somehow. Well, Jesus actually had that experience. There's a passage in Mark's Gospel, the beginning of the 6th chapter, where he goes home. Goes to his local synagogue, and he preaches on one Sabbath. And people are kind of nudging them in each other in their seats and going, isn't he Mary and Joseph's son? I mean, he's a local kid. I mean, I remember when he, got in trouble as a teenager and, was a kid growing up. How could he be anything special? And it can seem that way to us, that the things that are closest to us, that are around us, don't seem that particularly that special, and things that are distant away from us somehow are special. People there in Nazareth, in Jesus' hometown, don't realize who it is that they have right there with them, that this local boy really is the Messiah, the Christ, the Son of God, God's presence with them. And yet he's somehow too close, too personal for them to really appreciate that. In fact, Mark says that he could do no deeds of power there, except, of course, he laid his hands on a few people and healed them, which I guess if you're Jesus isn't any big deal. But right after that, Jesus takes his 12 apostles and he sends them out in pairs to cast out demons, to heal people, to proclaim the good news. And I can imagine those guys heading out and feeling a little inadequate. I mean, they had been with Jesus, they had seen what he was capable of, they'd seen the things that had happened with him, but then to expect them to do it, they didn't feel like they had the gifts, the abilities to do it. In fact, it was so close to them, so close as their own selves, that they didn't realize what they had in them, that they had Christ's presence, the Spirit of God with them, the empowerment that Christ had given them himself to do these amazing things. So I think about ourselves that way. What do you recognize or not recognize that God has placed in you or that God has placed close by you? I mean, do you recognize the people that are closest to you, spouses, friends, family, as bearing Christ's presence? And do you recognize that in yourself, the gifts that God has given you? Sometimes it can seem too close to us, that we don't realize it, we don't appreciate it. And yet, God is there right up next to us. Maybe Christ's presence is even in us, because God's put it there. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking, and I'll see you Sunday.